Say good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, can you tell our friends about your new friends, Malik and Dietrich?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you like to play with them?
I play them outside.
Outside. And what else do you like to do? Do you play bow and arrow? Yeah. And do they have monster trucks?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing they do with their monster trucks?
They turn around and they go in mud.
They go in mud?
Dietrich said they go in mud.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you have a monster truck?
We have a Spider-Man monster truck.
You have Spider-Man monster trucks. That's so cool. Is it so cold out here today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, today, say good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
This is my son, Remington. It feels like a fall day out here today, and Kenton decided he wanted to stay cuddled up on the couch, and I don't blame him. Do you want to go back inside?
Yeah.
Okay. I love you. Say bye.
Bye.
It's cold. It feels like a fall day, and it is still... We're in August, right? Yeah. So, it's definitely. I'm not ready for the summer to be over, but we still have a little bit of time. But anyways, I was asking Remington to share about his friends, Malik and Dietrich. What happened? Uh-oh. Somebody hurt their toe, shutting the door. Because we feel like that distracted me. He stubbed his toe really bad, but Daddy came to the rescue. So I wanted him to tell you about Malik and Dietrich, because when my husband and I were looking for a house, we both had our different things that we wanted. He wanted to live on some land. I wanted to live in a neighborhood because I grew up with a best friend down the street, and she's a part of so many of my memories, my childhood memories. And if I wasn't inside eating or at church, I was outside with my best friend Kristen. I was like, we were attached at the hip, and I just loved that part of my childhood, and I kind of wanted to give my boys that. And so we moved here. We got a little bit of land, but also we live on a nice little cul-de-sac. And when we moved here, all the kids were like quite a bit older than my boys. And I was thinking, oh man, this stinks. But I didn't move here just because I wanted them to have friends. But then about 6 months to a year ago, this couple moved in, and they have 3 little kids. 2 boys and a little girl, and they're all around the same ages as my sons, a little bit older. So they have all these fun, cool toys, and my boys love them. They wake up asking, can we play with Malik and Dietrich? And that's just such a testimony to me about how good God is, because my husband got his land. I mean, he wants like tons of land, but he got enough. And then we got friends in the neighborhood, and I just think, man, this is not even what I'm talking about, but pray specific prayers, because that's what we were praying for, and we just kept going. Nothing seemed right, and then we saw this house, and we were like, this is perfect. I got my neighborhood for friends, and like my neighbors, we borrow things from each other all the time. And then Dustin got some land. And so God is not too, or your prayers are not too big for God. And that's what we did. We just started praying, God, if you have that specific house for us, reveal it to us. And it was on the market right when we needed it. So yeah, Friends is actually what I'm talking about. And I just want to talk about my boys and their friends, and then our friendships as adults. Because how many of you know that it's so much easier to make friends when you're a kid? When you're a kid, you don't really care. You just make friends with whoever comes around. You have built-in friends with school, but then when you get older, you have your own world views, and you know what you like, what you don't like, and then people who fit into those categories are few and far between. But how many of you guys know friendship is extremely important? My husband and I, we used to be youth pastors, which, by the way, my name is Brittany. I am Pastor Jay's daughter. I don't think I said that, but I've been doing I think this is my third one. But he's on vacation and he asked me to do this. So yeah, I am happy to be here for the third time. I'm doing it again on Friday, and then Pastor Jay will be back. But friendship is so important. My husband and I used to be youth pastors, and we would always tell our students, isolation leads to death, but community leads to life. The enemy is so tricky. If he can get you isolated and alone, and he can lie to you and make you believe all kinds of crazy things, like nobody cares, that you're better off just not being here, whatever it might be. And then if you're not around a good community to counteract what he is saying, the enemy is saying to you, then you just believe those lies to be truth. Craig Groeschel says that if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And I love that idea. I say that all the time. It's like one of my go-to phrases because it's so true. Like, friendship is so necessary, but it can be so damaging too if you're not careful with it. Because our friends dictate where we're going. Your friendships are something that is so vital to your well-being in life. Have you ever been around someone where they're just not very uplifting, or they're gossipy, or they just have a potty mouth, whatever it might be, you just leave a little bit like, I don't like the way I feel inside. That is your discernment. That is the wisdom that God has given you, telling you that's probably not the person you want to hang around long term, because that is going to become who you are if you're not careful. Now, I am a firm believer in that we are the thermostat, not the thermometer, meaning that when we walk into a room, we set the tone. God has called us to be leaders. We can determine the way a conversation goes. If we're gossiping, that's on us. So I'm not sitting here saying, don't surround yourself with people who are bad influences, because you are the influence. You are the head and not the tail, as Pastor Jay always says. So we are. I'm not saying just like isolate yourself and don't be around people that are going to be a bad influence on you, because you are the influence. But Proverbs 12:26 says, the righteous should choose his friends carefully, for the way of the wicked leads them astray. And what that tells me is even righteous people can be led astray. We live a life as Christians to please God and to honor him and to be righteous, but we can even be led astray based on the people that we're choosing to be friends with. I think sometimes in our longing for connection and community, we can oftentimes lose sight of wisdom. I know that, I'm a pretty independent person. I don't need a ton of people around me, but even I, as like a person who is good, like I'll go to the movies by myself or go out to eat by myself. It doesn't bother me at all. But even a personality like mine longs for connection, and people who always want to be around other people can tend to lose sight of their wisdom and discernment just to fill that void of community and connection. And I want to encourage you to not let your wisdom go in an effort to find friends and to find your community, because so quickly you can find yourself in a community or connecting with somebody who just isn't who God has for you in a friendship. Your close friends are the ones that you share with, you go to in a time of need. You want to tell them all the good things. Your friends are the ones that you can just be super vulnerable with and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through, what are your thoughts? And if you don't have people who are Christ-centered in your life, you're going to be getting some crazy advice. You're going to go away from that even more confused than you were when you walked into the conversation. Matthew 7:6-7 says, do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. Have you guys ever heard that verse? A lot of people think it's just a phrase. Do not throw your pearls before swine. It basically means don't give what's so important to you and the thoughts that are running through your mind and some big ideas you have or some problems you're having at home. Don't just throw it to people that you can't trust. And I think we always stop at that verse, at the part that says, don't throw your pearls before swine, or don't give your pearls to pigs. But we forget what it says at the end. It says, if you do, they may trample them under their feet, meaning they're not going to be careful with what you're saying. But then, this is the crazy part. It says, and then turn and tear you to pieces. So if you're just openly telling people about things that are going on in your life that you really just want to process and you're needing just some wisdom and guidance, you have to be so careful who you're giving that information to, because they're not only going to take what you said and just tear it to pieces and probably interpret it the wrong way and share it with other people, but then they're going to use it to tear you apart. And I think that means spiritually. They're going to try to tear you apart spiritually. The older I get, the more private I become. I have my core people that I can go to, but I don't bear all to just anyone. I used to just wear my feelings on my sleeves, but I've learned this lesson time and time again, that if you throw your most important heart's desires, thoughts before people who really don't have your best interest at heart, then you will be trampled and they'll tear you to pieces. And I think that, you don't need a ton of people in your little close-knit community. I have a handful of people. I'm going to give a shout out to two of my really good friends, Brandy and Leah. They are awesome. I just stumbled upon them at church. I mean, I know God brought them into my life, but I always leave hanging out with them edified. And they really just, we never gossip. We always are encouraging each other. We're all moms. We work outside of the home. We're all married. We're Christians. We have a lot of similar common interests. And we really can just go to each other. I mean, there's times where we'll text that day and be like, who's up for pedicures? I've had a hard day. And 9 times out of 10, we're all like, me. I need to be there too. So I think my rule of thumb is when I'm hanging out with someone, because at first you don't know. Everyone puts their best foot forward, and so you think, oh, this is going to be a great friend of mine. Give it a few hangouts or times being together, and test it out. Test the waters. If they start talking about people, sorry guys, the Bible says gossip is a sin that leads to death. So it's not, oh, they're just needing to vent. Oh, it's okay. We can talk about it because, we're just trying to problem solve. No, gossip is gossip. Talking about somebody else, if you wouldn't say it to their face, and if it's negative, it's gossip. Sorry, I have no gray area with this. It's very clear what gossip is in the Bible. So anyways, that I'm very passionate about not gossiping, because I've seen it destroy people's lives, and it's not something to play around with. So if your friendship is centered around gossip, it's time to find new friends, or like I said, be the thermostat and just say, hey, we've been gossiping. I don't want to do that anymore. Let's talk about other things. There's so much you can talk about. Other people are not one of them. And then, okay, so I got off on a tangent with the gossip thing, but what I was saying was, after I've been hanging out with someone for a while, I feel like they're more comfortable with me. If there's ever a time where I feel off about the hangout, the friendship, the dynamic, I just sit on it, I pray about it, and then I hang out with them again. If I feel off a second time, I go home, pray about it. On the third time I hang out with them, I have that off feeling, it's over. I don't entertain that friendship anymore, because our time is too valuable to be spending it on people that aren't going to edify you. And I don't mean like witnessing to other people, and that's a whole nother vidcast for a whole nother day. I mean your core people in your life, who you are just your complete self with, and you're letting in. If you feel off 3 times, maybe it's just time to move on. And then a bonus, if you choose the right kind of friends, you have free therapy for life. I have a really good friend that I made in college. She's, I would say, one of my best friends. And she knows nothing about my life here except for what I tell her. And I know nothing about her life there. I don't know any of the people. And I can call her because she's a woman of God. She loves the Lord so much, and I can just say, this is what I'm going through. Pray with me, help me, give me some advice. And she does the same for me, and it's just been such a life-giving friendship. And then at the end of the day, we go our own separate ways, but we know we can always call each other if we need it. But anyways, that's been on my heart lately. It's just who your friends are is so important. My husband and I are so shrewd, if you want to call us. We are very careful on who we're letting in our sons' lives. And we pray about it, and we basically vet anybody that we let around our kids. But why don't we do the same for ourselves? I think we could all get better at who we're allowing in our corner and to speak into our lives. So that's what I want you to go away with this morning, is show me your friends and I'll show you your future, said by Craig Groeschel. And then, as Pastor Jay always says, make today count, because you're better than yesterday, but not near as good as you will be tomorrow. Pastor Jay will be back next Monday. I'm here on Friday, so I look forward to spending Friday with you guys. Have an awesome day. Enjoy your day. It's hump day, so we're almost to the weekend.